Hello, my name is Kendall DeBoer. I am a Curatorial Assistant in the Department of Contemporary Art at the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston. I am here with all of you today on this momentous and delightful occasion of installing and opening Hokusai Inspiration and Influence at the Seattle Art Museum. One of my favorite works in this exhibition is right behind me. It is by San Francisco-based artist Nancy Genn, and it is titled Opus 7 from 2008. And while this is a more recent painting, and she continues to paint as a living artist today, she's been creating works for a very long time. She's actually one of the earliest members of the abstract expressionist movement here on the West Coast. That movement is typically seen as being dominated by male painters in New York City. So it's really exciting to think about ways to reconfigure the canon with maybe people who have been a little bit understudied in terms of this history. So Nancy is one of them and was painting these abstractions back to the 1940s, which is really amazing. That's about as early as it gets in the United States. I was really delighted to find out that Nancy has been looking at Hokusai sketchbooks since she was very, very young. In 1917, Nancy's mother actually acquired a set of these mass-produced Hokusai manga sketchbooks that Hokusai made for his students at the time. His students loved these drawings so much that they wanted everyone to be able to learn from copying and repeating these drawings, which is really the intention of them. Since it was more affordable and more easily to reproduce at the time through print technologies, it traveled across the globe and was one of his first major hits. And Nancy Genn's mom happened to have one of these, or have a set of these that she purchased. Now, if we look together closely at Opus 7, you see these sort of calligraphic-esque black lines, and then some very thin, almost pencil-y looking swirling lines, and these spaces of color that are almost gray-washed and blue-washed. It's a very suggestive and evocative and emotive sort of drawing that doesn't necessarily represent something in a literal sense, like you can't say, oh, I see a person, or I see a mountain, or I see a building. But when we look at it in conversation with things like the sketchbooks that inspired her, we see this sort of sense of vibration or movement or turning or repeated strokes of the line that are formally and aesthetically similar to what we see in Hokusai's drawings. And I find that so fabulous. And one of the strengths of this exhibition is bringing things into conversation across space and time to draw out new readings and new correspondences. And Hokusai's work was so important to Nancy that she ended up spending many different residencies in Japan and even developing her own Japanese paper-making technique known as the Genn method. So she's truly been devoted to Japanese printmaking, Japanese woodblocks, and Hokusai's sketchbooks specifically for a lifetime. And we could not be more excited to share it with all of you. And you can find this work and many other delightful treats and unexpected encounters here at the Seattle Art Museum in Hokusai Inspiration and Influence, which will be on view from right now to January 21st, 2024. So run, don't walk.